Madam Speaker. To also Honourable Prime Minister, Minister of Home Affairs, External Communication and National Development Unit, Minister of Finance and Economic Development. Whether in regard to the Film Rebate Scheme, he will, for the benefit of the House, obtain from the Economic Development Board information as to the total amount refunded to film production companies in 2017, 2018, and since 1st January 2019 to date. And A, table the list of the said companies indicating the film titles and amount refunded for each category of qualifying production expenditure, and B, state the film titles having obtained a refund exceeding 50 million rupees and or greater than 30% of qualifying production expenditure.
Madam Speaker, in the Government Programme 2015-2019, at paragraph 78, it is stated that, I quote, "The promotion of arts and culture will constitute an important ingredient in nurturing national unity and promoting our tourism industry. Measures will be put in place to promote cultural tourism, religious pilgrimage, and film production." Unquote. The Film Rebate Scheme is governed by the Economic Development Board Film Rebate Scheme Regulations of 2018. The objects of the scheme are two. A, attract reputed international film producers for the shooting or pre-production, production or post-production of a film in Mauritius. B, open the scope for local film producers and artists. C, unleash talents. And D, increase the international visibility of Mauritius. The scheme provides for a film production company to be reimbursed A, a sum representing 30% of its qualifying production expenditure, or B, where the production brings or is likely to bring significant economic benefits, a sum representing not less than 30%, no more than 40% of the qualifying production expenditure in respect of a feature film or an episode of drama television program, in accordance with the percentage recommended by the Film Rebate Committee, provided that the film production company meets such relevant requirements as the committee may determine, including A, in the case of a feature film, a qualifying production expenditure of not less than $1 million, or B, in the case of an episode of drama television program, a qualifying production expenditure of not less than $150,000 per episode, and C, an undertaking to promote Mauritius at the time of the film promotion. Madam Speaker, I am further informed that since the introduction of the scheme in 2013, a total of 156 film projects have been approved under the Film Rebate Scheme, out of which 95 projects have been completed. The total qualifying production expenditure, that is, expenditure incurred by film producers in Mauritius in respect of these 95 projects, amounts to 3.53 billion rupees. Madam Speaker, regarding Part A of the question, I am tabling the list of companies for each category of qualifying production expenditure which have been refunded as from 2017 to date. As regard to Part B of the question, I am informed that one film, namely Serenity, has obtained a refund exceeding 50 million rupees. Two films, namely Serenity and Singleholic, have benefited of a refund exceeding 30% of the qualifying production expenditure, respectively at 39% and 34%. The development of the film industry has both a multiplier and synergy effect on the economy. Moreover, government has collected around 900 million rupees in terms of both direct and indirect taxes. In addition, the Film Rebate Scheme has created employment opportunities for more than 2,000 local people in both technical and creative fields. These include local crews and technicians, supporting cast, art and decoration, camera lighting and photography, makeup, script writing, assistant direction, production and project, post-production and visual effects, and dubbing. Madam Speaker, I wish to highlight that there are some 30 countries around the world that provide fiscal incentives to attract foreign filmmakers. The competition is therefore tough. Despite such competition, Mauritius is progressing well. In its 2018 annual report, KPMG India has given recognition to the competitive advantage offered by the Film Rebate Scheme in Mauritius. Earlier, in December 2017, Mauritius won the Best Film Shooting Location as part of an award offered by Indiewood Film Festival in Hyderabad. Madam Speaker, there is no doubt that apart from the economic benefits being derived, the image of Mauritius, both as a tourism and investment destination, is being enhanced through the showcasing of the various films in different parts of the world.
Madam Speaker, Honourable Prime Minister, referring to the first part of the question, the total amount refunded to production film companies. He has not given that figure.
Total?
First part of the question, total amount refunded. No.
Well, I have a copy here. It's good that I can give figures from 2015 to 2018. The total qualifying production expenditure was 2,555.9 billion rupees. So here I'm given a figure of 364.1 million rupees that has been funded.
Madam Speaker, the figures the Prime Minister has given is not accurate. If you look at the accounts of Mauritius, you will see that 2017-18, 800 million rupees, more than 800 million rupees, has been spent under the Film Rebate Scheme. And this is the point of the question.
17-18? Well, no, you're wrong. The figures that I have for total qualifying production expenditure for 2017, it's 773 billion rupees. I need to get the confirmation. Film Promotion Fund. Well, what I have, I better quote from this table. It is 200 for 2017. The total qualifying production expenditure is 773 million rupees. The total rebate that has been paid is 289.2 million rupees. For 2018, the total qualifying production expenditure is 1.589 billion rupees, and the total rebate paid is 484.8 million rupees. So we can add and see the total amount.
If you add all these, they don't come to 300 billion, they come to much more than 300 billion that the Prime Minister stated. Anyway, Madam Speaker, the accounts of Mauritius show 800 million rupees, 814 million, 408 and 614 rupees are spent on the Film Rebate Scheme for that year alone, Madam Speaker. 17-18, it's here. Madam Speaker, I'd like to ask the Honourable Prime Minister, this 900 million rupees of taxes, indirect and direct, that these people have supposedly paid. Because as you are aware, we refund VAT. VAT is refunded to these people. So where are these 900 million taxes? How do you come to that? Do you have a figure, a breakdown of that 900 million that you have stated?
Yes, of course, I can provide you with the breakdown of the figure. I don't have the breakdown right now, but obviously I undertake to provide this House with the breakdown.
It's impossible, that figure, Madam Speaker, impossible that they are paid this much. Madam Speaker, I'd like to ask the Honourable Prime Minister, 800 million rupees spent last financial year on Film Rebate Scheme. Is this still governed by a Film Rebate Committee? And can you tell us who are the members of this famous Film Rebate Committee?
Well, I would like to tell the Honourable Member, first of all, that what is not possible for him is possible with this government. But there is a Film Rebate Committee which entertains all the applications that are made for refund. The committee is comprised of a representative of the Prime Minister's Office, representative of the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development, Ministry of Arts and Culture, Mauritius Film Development Corporation, Mauritius Tourism Promotion Authority, and the Economic Development Board.
So this Film Rebate Committee comprises of 6 officials from government. And, Madam Speaker, I'd like to ask the Prime Minister, given that they have spent 814 million rupees of taxpayers' money last financial year, whether in deciding which films to give subsidy to, including the fiasco Serenity, whether they have recourse to international experts, professionals in the field, or whether these six people, they decide by themselves to dish out hundreds of millions of rupees of taxpayers' money.
Well, Madam Speaker, there are a number of criteria on which they look at in order to decide whether to grant the refund and how much refund to be granted. They will assess each the project in terms of its economic benefits, and they will also provide then, after looking at all the benefits that pertains to the country, then they will make the recommendations. And if need be, of course, they will consult whoever they feel need to be consulted.
Speaker, I'd like to ask the Honourable Prime Minister a very serious question. In the light of the fiasco of Serenity, which has even ceased distribution worldwide, has grossed almost nothing in terms of revenue, and given no publicity to Mauritius, in the light of that fiasco of Serenity, whether he has made any changes to the procedures, to the Film Rebate Committee, to avoid similar fiascos with taxpayers' money in the near future.
Madam Speaker, I think the fiasco is in the head of the leader of the opposition. He is the one who decides and who judges on the fiasco of the film. I am looking at what has been the reviews. Although it is not the job of the committee or of the government to look at what is going to happen with regard to what do we judge what is going to happen? How do we know? As if you would already know what is going to be the end result and the success of a film. This is what the information that I have. The worldwide box office performance of the film Serenity amounts to $15 million US.
This doesn't add to the decorum of the House, Honourable Leader of the Opposition. Please proceed, Honourable Prime Minister.
I'm giving facts, Madam Speaker. The performance includes $8.5 million US that have been achieved in the United States only, and has been projected in 2,561 theaters so far. And to date, the movie has been released in the US, in the UK, Russia, Bulgaria, Netherlands, Portugal, and the Czech Republic only. The movie will be released, I'm informed, in other parts of Europe in April 2019, and the video release of the movie in the US is planned for 30th of April 2019. Now, probably the leader of the opposition must have looked at a number of reviews. There have been reviews for and there have been reviews against. For example, the Chicago Independent has considered it as a flop, whereas the Daily Independent judged it as a good movie for macho cinephiles. Now, it's a question of appreciation, it's a question of judgment. And then let me repeat again, how would we know if a film is going to be successful or not? What is important to us is that we do everything to develop a cinematographic industry in Mauritius, that we get the benefits, not only in terms of financing, but also in terms of job creation and also in terms of promotion of the image of the country. These are the main criteria, the priority. Of course, if a film is doing well, so we will be very happy, we'll be very pleased. But how would one know whether a film is going to be beforehand successful or not?
I'm very worried about what the Prime Minister has said, because the whole point of paying hundreds of millions of rupees as subsidy to these films is that they should give us publicity for our country. That is the whole point. And this is, Madam Speaker, why I'm very worried about this. This film has not even obtained half of its, received half of its cost of production. I'm going to ask the Prime Minister, there are apparently a number of huge budget movies coming. One is called Maya Lord. You may know about it, Madam Speaker. One is called Maya Lord. The budget is 2 billion rupees. The taxpayer will have to pay, I presume, 800 million rupees. There are other films in the pipeline, Indian films, where the taxpayer would pay another 400 million rupees. Is the Prime Minister telling the House that it is not the responsibility of the Film Rebate Scheme to ensure that these films are going to be successful, that these films will provide positive publicity to Mauritius, and therefore that they should get proper advice and avoid wastage, huge wastage of public funds?
Madam Speaker, whenever anyone will shoot a film in Mauritius and will apply for a refund, it will be considered by the committee. The film in question, if it is going to be shot here, they will have to apply to the committee. The committee will have a look according to their criteria that have been laid down, and they will decide, obviously they will recommend how much rebate would be given. But his leader of the opposition is talking a lot about Serenity. Let me tell him, and he can confirm, whether Mr. Dan Babu, Honorable Dan Babu, was not at that time Minister for Arts and Culture. He attended the Berlinale Film Festival in Berlin in 2016. He met with Mr. Andy Niesner, the director of Stranded in Paradise, that was shot in Mauritius in 2014, and that was released in 2015. And during the conversation, he learned that the director, Andy Niesner, was a very good friend of Mr. Stephen Knight. Mr. Stephen Knight, who is the writer and director of Serenity. And you know what he was saying? And rightly so, rightly so. First of all, he was praising the leader of the opposition with Mr. Knight, saying that, you know, he's the one who was Minister of Finance and had introduced the Film Rebate Scheme. And therefore, please, talk to Mr. Knight. Tell him, try to influence him to shoot Serenity in Mauritius. And I asked the leader of the opposition, be careful, because if you deny that, I can prove it.
Madam Speaker, I can prove so many things. I can prove so many things you wouldn't even believe it. But let's leave that, Madam Speaker, aside for the moment. I'm happy that Mr. Dan Babu did his work as promoting. But my point is, that there's a difference between promoting and checking and giving the checks and balances that the taxpayer ought to be protected in these cases. Madam Speaker, let me ask now the question. Everything was going fine as 30%. What convinced the government to increase the percentage to 40%? Did the government seek some international report, some consultants, before committing 40% instead of 30% of taxpayers' money on the film? What was, and the only film I think has benefited is the famous fiasco Serenity.
Speaker, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition is puzzled on why we have increased the rebate to 40%. Let me ask him. In the budget speech of 2012, he was Minister of Finance. He announced that government would contribute 25% of agreed expenses incurred in Mauritius by the film producers. 25%. When he made the regulation, you know how much it came? 30%. How did it increase? Why did it increase? Then, why do we increase? We increase it to 40%. You know why? Because, as I say, there is serious competition. Our next door neighbor, South Africa, you know how many films are being shot partly or wholly in South Africa? And you know what kind of incentive they give in South Africa? This is, I'm mentioning only one country. Canada, New Zealand. There are so many countries offering so many incentives and advantages to attract those filmmakers. That is why we need to be an attractive country. Now, we have obviously all the, I would call the natural advantages, which I don't want to go in detail. But then, one of the main criteria also that will motivate those film producers to come here is about the rebate. And that is why we have increased that rebate to maximum. It's not applicable to everybody, but maximum 40%.
Madam Speaker, the increase was based, unlike him it seems, by a report from international consultants that the then government had, and he should check to see that it wasn't like that, out of the air, out of a whim, which doesn't seem to be the case for the increase to 40%. I'd like to ask the Honourable Prime Minister, there have been wide reports of malpractices, not only in Mauritius, I must say, overseas as well. People inflating, fraudulently inflating their invoices so that they get a maximum of refund, in fact pay most of their expenses from the taxpayers' money. I'd like to ask the Honourable Prime Minister whether he is satisfied with the current system, whereas any one of the 300 auditors that exist in Mauritius can verify the figures that are submitted to EDB. Any one of the 300 auditors can verify. And also whether he is aware that the regulator of the auditors, FRC, Financial Reporting Council, has no CEO since the last 4 years.
First of all, Madam Speaker, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition is trying to justify that it was increased during his tenure of office because he had received, supposedly, he had received a report from an international consultant. So, why is it that when he announced it in the budget, therefore he didn't have a report from the international consultant? Mettre la charrue devant le bœuf, à ce moment-là, it is only afterwards that he received the report. So this is, to me, this is not tenable. But with regard to now is saying that there's fraud and so on. But don't say generally there's fraud. If you have a specific case, if you know of a specific case, tell this House, tell us. Don't come and make general statement, there is fraud. Well, and I can assure this House, Madam Speaker, we have a committee composed of people who assume their responsibility. They are serious people. And then, obviously, it is not just a question like as if you want to make people believe that you just furnish figures and you say, I want a refund, and that is accepted. Every figure is scrutinized. All the details are scrutinized. It must be an audited, first of all, a claim. But then they do their work. They will scrutinize everything and whatever is justifiable, and in the light of how much rebate can be given, of course, we leave it to their judgment to give that kind of rebate.
My question to the Prime Minister was serious, in that the system is flawed and too loose to allow for proper checks. That is the question. And I'd like to ask the Prime Minister, since so many hundreds of millions have been spent, has any case of inflated claim been made to the EDB? Has it ever reported any case to the police for the past 4 years?
Well, who has? I cannot understand that question, Madam Speaker. Has a case been made? A case been made? A case will be made not by the EDB, because there is a committee, they scrutinize the figures, and then they will recommend the amount that has to be refunded. So far, I haven't come across any case which has been made against the rebate scheme. Whether there has been a fraudulent act with regard to one application or not. But it's good that we give figures because we must know what we are talking about. You are making as if it's something which is now happening and which is really not warranted. Let me give the figures for 2013, 2014. The total rebate that was paid, nearly 102 million rupees. And the estimated total revenue for government was 83.8 million rupees. Now, I'm not criticizing. I'm not saying that was not a good performance as compared to what we have done, 2015 to 2018. The total rebate is 832.1 million rupees, and the estimated total revenue for government, 791.2 million rupees. Now, we are comparing figures only, but as I say, the other benefits that accrue to the country in terms of employment creation, in terms of visibility for the country, advertising. We want to make Mauritius a better tourism destination, a better investment destination. But this is a way also of promoting Mauritius.
Speaker, I don't know where the Prime Minister gets his figures. They're completely out of line with what the Auditor General. I think we have to fire this one because the government auditor gives completely different figures, 43 million only in 2013 and 14. I don't know where he gets his figures from. Madam Speaker, I'd like to ask the Honourable Prime Minister, given that my statement is that the system is flawed and allows for fraud, will he not consider, this is serious, nothing to do with political, this and that. This is taxpayers' money and you have a responsibility to watch over it. Wouldn't it be better now, given that hundreds of millions of rupees have been spent and even billions will be spent in the future, that this whole system be reviewed, transferred probably to the MRA, who are better equipped at checking this sort of thing rather than the EDB, and also require for the Director of Audit himself to audit claims that are being submitted. That would be, in my view, a better system for all.
Leader of the opposition is saying 100 of millions of rupees are being spent. Yes, 100 millions are being refunded. But 100 of millions of rupees are also coming to the coffers of government also. I mentioned the amount of money. And how much money is being spent here while a film is being shot. Now, with regard to, okay, you have made a point that whether we can improve the system. The system can always be improved, Madam Speaker. We need to see how, obviously, we can improve the system. But I must say, so far, there has not been any allegation. I have not come across any case of fraud. But prévenir, c'est mieux que guérir. Je suis d'accord. So we will obviously have a look at the system and wherever and whatever action needs to be taken in order to improve the system, we will do so. But let me say, so far, I say so far, I haven't come across any case of fraud, which the leader of the opposition is saying generally there can be cases of fraud.
Leader of opposition, you have 2 minutes.
There's widespread talk of fraud, and the system is not adequate to check it. That is the whole point of this, what I'm trying to make, Madam Speaker.
That should be
Madam
the last
Speaker,
question.
yeah, I'm just saying this. In many countries, film companies don't get any refund until they submit full income tax returns. You're saying so many taxes have been paid, I don't believe it. Now, they are supposed to submit income tax returns to the MRA, the equivalent of the MRA overseas, before they get a refund, this case from the EDB. Wouldn't that be a better system? Because my information is that many of these film production companies, and this you can check easily, it's your department, don't even submit full income tax returns upon leaving the country or accounts at the register of companies. So there's total opacity as to what happens.
No, this is not correct, Madam Speaker. I will check, but so far I haven't come across any case where a company has left Mauritius without honoring its obligations. I've not come across anyone, but I will check if there is any. But preparing this PNQ, I believe that my officer would have drawn my attention. But anyway, let me not be so sure about it, but I will check. But let me say again that it is after their submission of their return to the MRA, where we ascertain, not we, but the committee ascertains that they have paid all their taxes, that their application is being processed. So they cannot have any refund and not honor their obligation in terms of taxes. But with regard to other taxes, well, then those are the taxes they have to pay at the outset.
Time is over.